Love. We all need it. I guess you could call it an essential ingredient for life, but unlike other essential ingredients, it can be so difficult to receive. Why is that? Why is love so hard to receive? Well, oftentimes, it's because we can't get out of our own way to actually receive love. You see, some of us are too self-reliant. I mean, if you're strong and you've had to fight to survive in life, well, you've probably developed a protective callus around yourself. And usually that is rooted in a posture of independence or a posture of pride. And it kind of comes from this place of where maybe you haven't been able to rely on others in life. It's not necessarily an arrogance that happens, but it's kind of rooted in the fact that maybe you've been let down. You've been disappointed. You couldn't count on others. Maybe your parents weren't there for you or someone betrayed you. So you've had to rely on yourself. And you've had to make it in life your own way. So you develop this protective callus around yourself. And because of that, letting down your guard, which is the only way that you and I can receive love, is so hard. Why? Well, the feeling of being loved is difficult for you because it feels a lot like being weak or vulnerable or even needy. Everything that you and I don't want to feel, especially if we have this protective callus around us. And because being loved and loving in return requires us to be open, to let our guard down, and risk the threat of being hurt, that's hard. There's a second reason we can find it hard to receive love, and it's not because we're too self-reliant, but we're too self-loathing. I mean, if you've been wounded or hurt in life, and some of us, we get harder the harder life hits at us. But some of us, we break when life hits hard. And it can be hard to receive love if we've been broken. And the reason is because you'll either not feel worthy of love or you're going to be suspicious of the love that's being offered to you. Sometimes we don't feel worthy in life because as life beats up on us, we see ourselves as the problem. It's hard to feel love and receive love when we don't love ourselves. And sometimes in life, we find ourselves suspicious of love because anyone who's offered love, or maybe someone that's offered love, they want something from us, not something for us. So even as people attempt to love us or we love others, we resist it in those moments. But the truth is, there is no love without pain. There's a great children's story I read when I was a kid called The Velveteen Rabbit, written by Margaret Williams, 1929. And in it, there are two major characters. There's the Velveteen Rabbit, a toy, and a toy horse. And they have a fascinating conversation. In the story, the horse says to the Velveteen Rabbit, "When a child loves you for a long, long time, then you become real." And the Velveteen Rabbit asks, "Does it hurt?" And the horse says, "Oh, yes." In fact, he says this, "That's why it doesn't happen to those who break easily, or have to be very carefully handled. By the time you're real, most of your hair has been loved off and your eyes drop out and you get loose in your joints and you look awfully shabby. But once you are real, you can't be ugly except to the people who don't understand." Man, life has a way of wearing off the hair, loosening the joints, maybe even making us a little uglier. But someone who truly loves you, to them, you never get ugly. You are always a treasure, no matter how you look and no matter what life has done to you. Friends, there's a love that is focused on giving, not taking. A love that is focused on healing, not exploiting. The Apostle John describes this love in one of the most, famous verses in the world, John 3:16. In it, he says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son." Remember, love is focused on giving, and God's love towards us always starts with a gift. And he goes on to say, so that every single individual, what an offer that is, every person has access to this love. Whoever simply trusts in him. Now, if you know the verse, you know I added the word simply there. It's because in the original language that John wrote, there's no adverb in front of trust. It doesn't say whoever deeply trusts, or whoever sincerely trusts, whoever completely trusts. If it did, it would make God's love something you had to work to receive. You had to work for, but it's actually free. John goes on to say that you would never be destroyed, but would even now have deep, lasting life. I mean, the story of Jesus is actually, as it turns out, is a love story. Centuries in the making, cost God everything, but it's free for everyone. So how do you receive love? How do you receive this love from God? This is the hard part, because you can't earn it. That's hard because everything in life is about striving and earning favor from others. The irony is, you can only receive the love of Jesus if you acknowledge the fact that, in fact, you are weak and needy. I know you don't like that, but it's letting down your guard and truly receiving Jesus' love, not just His truth, not just His help. You need to open up your arms and run to Him. So whether you're too self-reliant or you're too self-loathing, or even both, Scriptures shouts this beautiful promise to you and a reminder that nothing in all creation, whether inside of you or outside of you, can separate you from the love of God as seen in Christ Jesus. I love that. That means the absolute sovereign of the universe, to whom the galaxies are like dust in His hands, has an unconditional, no strings attached love aimed at you.